Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Saushtvi and today we're doing a really fun video. I am basically going to give you recommendations based on your love language. This video was initially meant for Valentine's Day, but clearly that didn't happen. But better late than never. I have 10 books to recommend to you today based on the five love languages, which are quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, and acts of service. If you hear a thumping, knocking noise coming, there's repair work going on and I really cannot do anything about it. I'll just try to be loud. 10 books, 5 love languages, let's get into it. First love language, quality time. If your love language is quality time, I have 2 books to recommend to you. The first book is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is a YA contemporary read and it's super sweet. It's primarily about friendship between these two girls. They're two best friends, they always hang out together, they've been stuck to each other since forever. And basically, one day, one of the friends just disappears, um, completely out of touch, leaves town, no clue what happened, and she leaves behind a bucket list of sorts for her friend to complete during the summer. It takes place during the summer. So it's a summer adventure bucket list that she's left behind, and it's really fun. It has things like kiss a stranger, go skinny dipping, steal something, hug a Jamie, apple picking at night, sleeping under the stars. So some like really cute stuff to complete over the summer. And our main character is a little bit of a homebody and she's shy, and this list is basically bringing her out of her cage. While going through this list and trying to complete this over the course of her summer, she also meets a boy that she sort of starts completing the list with, and they have a really like cute and sweet and gentle friendship and romance that builds. They just do some really sweet activities together, they spend time together, they get to know each other, they do the little things. The Morgan Matson books always focuses on the little things that matters, and so I think this is like a really great recommendation for people whose love language is quality time. The second book I have to recommend to you for quality time is I Fell in Love with Hope by Lankali. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's obviously a pseudonym. This is a little bit of a sad book, I will let you know that. Like, it gets really emotional in the second half, especially towards the end, but it's still really sweet. It's about these friends who live in the hospital. They all have some kind of disease that they're suffering from, and it's about their time in the hospital and the little escapades that they have to sort of escape their life at the hospital. It's really sweet. The writing is very metaphorical. Like, every line bleeds poetry. I thought this book was really sweet and really engaging. It does get a little too much after a point, the writing style, but as a story it's really sweet and did have me emotional towards the end. So yeah, the book is filled with moments of them just hanging out together, being with each other, supporting each other, and I think it's a great recommendation for quality time again. Next, words of affirmation. Now, for words of affirmation, again, I have 2 books for you. The first one is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is again a YA contemporary, but it's very different from most romances that we read about. These 2 characters that we have, Eleanor and Park, are very different people. They come from very different backgrounds. There's a lot of representation in here for Asian communities and representation for body types. So it's a really sweet read. These 2 people, these 2 kids who end up really leaning on each other for um, consolation for their insecurities, and how they learn to deal with it by leaning on each other. And it's really sweet, it's really heartwarming. It's a very cozy read, and so I would really recommend this for words of affirmation. The next book we have is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This is the second book in the Off-Campus series. It's an ice hockey romance and it's a new adult book. So it's a little spicy, just letting you know. If you don't want spicy, not for you. This is again, it's really sweet. It's about Logan and Grace, and they kind of had like a very sweet friendship slash romance that started brewing by like a one night stand, sort of. And they were almost about to get together, but something happens and then they don't, and it's the boy basically groveling for her, and just the romance between them is really sweet. He's never afraid to tell her how much he loves her or why he wants her and what he appreciates about her, and it's always really sweet to read. So yeah, words of affirmation: if you're okay with spice, you like ice hockey romances, um, pick it up. Next, for the people whose love language is physical touch, I have two amazing recommendations for you. The first one is Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. I hope that's how you pronounce her name, I'm not sure. This is a YA dystopian series. I think it's YA, but it does get a little spicy towards the later half of the book, so just watch out for that if that's not something you're okay with, letting you know. The series is basically, like I said, it's a dystopian fantasy series, right? So it's mainly about this girl whose touch is lethal. She can kill by touching someone, and in the first book she's kind of been in isolation for a long while, and then this guy who's sort of the head of the government there pulls her out of it for an experiment, and it's an enemies to lovers romance. And that's all I'll tell you, because the series changes every book. It gets a little unhinged towards the end, mind you, but in the best way. It's really fun, and her, Juliet, and the romance that she has with the guy in the series, in case you don't know who he is, I'm not letting you know, but the romance is filled with so much tension, and physical touch is definitely one of their love languages. So you will enjoy it, okay? You will enjoy this. It's amazing. And another recommendation is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is a Shadowhunters book. If you don't know the Shadowhunters universe, it's a massive, massive book universe. This is like the third or the fourth series, okay? So I would recommend that you read the other books, other series that are in this world, but again, it's not necessary, but it would help if you would read those before this, because there's spoilers for quite a bit of the other series in this one. This one specifically is, again, it's a dystopian fantasy, urban fantasy kind of a setting. So we deal with shadow hunters who are basically half angel, half humans who kill demons. Okay, great, that's the plot. So there's a lot of that, but it also has a major focus on the romance between Emma and Julian, and it's a little bit of a forbidden romance, but these two obviously just cannot keep their hands off of each other, and that's all I'll say. If physical touch is your love language, you will eat this up. Next, if your love language is receiving gifts, I have Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare to recommend to you. This is another Shadowhunter book. It's the latest series in the Shadowhunter universe. I think it's the 5th series, if I'm not wrong, or 6th, I'm not sure. This series is set in the 1700s, I don't know, 1800s, way back then, okay? It's a little bit of an old-timey kind of a vibe, and we have, again, a group of Shadowhunter kids that we're following, and the different romances between them. And I don't want to spoil anything, but if gift giving is your love language, you will really enjoy the sweet gestures that these people make for each other throughout the series. Their sort of ideas of grand gestures, the way that they just give gifts to each others and make their grand gestures. It's really sweet. And another one for this category is Caraval, the Caraval trilogy as a whole. This is a YA dystopian once again. The setting of this world is a very Alice in Wonderland vibe. It's very mystical and magical. We follow two sisters who go to like a magical carnival, and a lot of deadly games start happening there. The entire time you're questioning what is real, what's not real. That's the kind of vibe of the series. But we do have a wholesome sisterhood between these sisters, and we also have two separate romances throughout the series that we follow. And gift giving is just a huge part of their relationships. And in general, the vibe of the world is something that's very fitting to this category. The vibe is just, it's so rich and deep and enamoring that it just fits this category really well. So yeah, if gift giving, you're into it, Caraval. And of course, the last category we have today is acts of service. Now, the two books for this one that I picked today. Firstly, we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a YA murder mystery series. It's about this girl who lives in this town where a huge mystery had happened a few years ago. A girl disappeared or got murdered, and the town and the police basically blamed the boyfriend for it, and the boyfriend committed suicide. This girl decides that nope, something seems off about the result of this case, and she decides to start investigating it herself along with the brother of the boyfriend who committed suicide. So it's both of them together investigating what really went down, and they have the sweetest romance that starts happening between them. It's a slow burn, okay? It really takes its time to pick up through the series, but the way it does is so sweet. And the lens that Ravi goes through, Ravi is the love interest, and the lens that he goes to for her and the things that he does for her, the way he shows up for her is just so sweet. If you're not into murder mysteries or that kind of a vibe, maybe you wouldn't enjoy it as much because that is obviously at the forefront of the plot. But regardless, I always recommend this book to anyone who enjoys reading because it's such a thrill ride and the romance is so sweet, like I said. So, acts of service, if you're into this, you should definitely read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Okay, so I just had to edit the video and I realized I never mentioned the second book for acts of service. So I quickly want to pop in here and tell you about it. It is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a YA romance, and it's really sweet, all the things that he does for her throughout this book. It's really YA, really cute. It's like a movie that plays out in book form, to be honest. That's all I have to say about it. It's really sweet. So if you want a sweet, cute, just nice and homely romance, a classic, you should go for it because the acts of service vibe in this one really hits. But yeah, those are all the recommendations I have for you today. If you want more of this, I have like a list for all of them. So if you want more of these, let me know and I'll make a part 2 of this video. But for now, this is all I have. Happy late Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe and comment to let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. With that, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.